believe his name is like Aki or something like that. And I didn't even know that he believed in the Hebrew, but he's calling on Yahweh. We believe the Lord name is Yahweh, but we gonna get the correct pronunciation when the Lord comes back for sure. These things is gonna be corrected. But this is what's really, really interesting to me, right? Because same thing with what you're looking at on your screen. You're looking at Akon City. Like it's not an actual city yet, but this is what they plan on building, which looks like Wakanda kinda, and it's over there in Africa. And I watched interview yesterday with Akon. You could look this interview up. It's gonna be like one of the most recent ones. He's like sitting in front of some planes and he's having an interview. And he was talking about Akon City. Now watch this. Now this is really deep. Follow me here. And he was saying like, if all the black Americans left America and went to Africa, they will make Africa great pretty much, and they will all be millionaires because Africa needs so much stuff. And with our mindset and what we have learned and how we build America, we could build Africa, but Africa be 100 million times greater because of all the resources. And I get that, and that is a true statement. Now that is a true statement, but this is the problem though, and this is the same thing with Aki. He was speaking about, and the guy from Earn Your Leisure, 14 keys or something like that, 17 keys. Um, they come in with knowledge, they come in with wisdom, and these things are good. And Aki, he's breaking down diseases and how to get rid of them in the body and everything like that. And these things are good. Don't get me wrong; these things are good things, right? But he said something, and it hit me, and that's what inspired me to just go ahead and make this video. He said that like how you know, I'm not saying all this stuff, the black man, the black woman, we're gods, God body. I'm not saying all this stuff because I'm not saying that we need to have a race war. We need to hate any other races or have anything against any other races. All I'm saying is we need to love ourselves more, right? And that's cool. But this is the problem. Now watch this. This is gonna hit you. This is the problem. Well, first off, let me break it down this way. Whatever you do now, you speaking now. You may not know me personally, right? But I didn't had a little bit of success into the world, so I'm not just coming from a dude sitting on his couch playing Xbox, right? So this ain't coming from a guy that's living at his mom's or never had a wife, never successfully or created a family and provided and protected a family. We're not talking about a college kid. We're not talking about a guy that, never had any experience in the streets. We're not talking about that when you're talking about me. So this is from experience. And this is some good advice for you to take with you. Whatever you do, you always got to find the bottom line. Because the bottom line is what's going to determine if you're successful or not. Everything else is good. I'm not saying that these things don't matter. Keeping the body healthy, us loving ourselves, starting cities. I'm not saying that these things aren't good, right? But you have a bottom line which is going to determine if you're successful. So let me break it down. If you go into selling cars, you got a bottom line that's going to determine if you're successful. That bottom line is what you buying them for and what you're selling them for. That's going to determine now how many people you can reach, advertisement, the structure that you got set up, what type of those are all variables that are important. But the bottom line is what can I buy them for and what can I sell them for? What do people think they're worth? So you have something to call like a MMR or a Kelly Blue Book value. You have to know the value of this car because I can't go buy something for 10K but people only pay 5K. That's fucking my bottom line. I have to know, okay, I could buy this for 5K and people are willing to pay 10K. That's business. That's the same thing with real estate. When it comes to houses, it's the same thing with anything you sell. You have a bottom line, right? So now in this case, I would say there's two bottom lines. First bottom line never changes. Spirituality, the spirit. You have to have the spirit intact. So you have to know who your God is and you have to know the truth about that God. right? So before we can even get to living healthy, building cities, we have to know who our God is, and we have to know the truth, because that's what's going to bring us together before anything else. Second, and that never changes no matter what industry or what you're doing. That never changes. But the second bottom line always changes, and this has to do with whatever you're into, whatever you're researching, whatever you're entertaining, whatever field you're going into. This bottom line always changes. You have to know the bottom line. You you have a duty and a job to go find the bottom line of whatever you're doing, which is going to make the difference of if it's unsuccessful or successful. So Akon, with the Akon City and African Americans coming back to Africa and making Africa great again. 17, 14 keys. I gotta get his actual name so I don't mess it up because I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just going 24 keys because I don't see it on here. But I kind of remember it, but I just don't remember how many keys. 19 keys, okay? Let's put some respect on the brother name because he's a smart, intelligent brother and he's doing good things. These are good things that they're saying. But all I'm arguing is y'all not y'all are not acknowledging the bottom line. A lot of times our people don't acknowledge the bottom line because they're scared or they just feel like we wouldn't win, right? But that actually goes to the first bottom line, which is spirituality. That's what's going to get us the victory. But the bottom line, here it is: war. War, 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 war. So, Aki, I disagree with you. It's not, well, we not talking about a race war. Whatever y'all trying to do to help our black people, so-called black people, you cannot, I have to repeat this, you cannot do it without going to war. The Bible talks about war. Mortal Kombat is from the Bible. You're going to have war on every level. Every realm, you're going to have war. You're going to have war amongst the people. You're going to have gender wars. You're going to have race wars. You're going to have, and it speaks about this in Matthew 24, our Lord speaks about this. You're going to have um, city wars. You're going to have states at war. And you're going to have countries at war. And then you're going to have human war against the Lord when he comes back. That's the war in the heavens. The Bible speaks about war and it says that it's going to happen 100%. There's no way around war. And that's the bottom line. Akon, if you get all African Americans, so-called blacks, to go back to Africa, and he said this. He said America would pretty much collapse overnight if that happened. And guess what they're going to do? As soon as they see that happen, guess what they're going to do? Guess what the white man's going to do? He's going to go to war with you. Aki, you want us all to get healthy and take care of our bodies? Okay, that's some good advice. I give you that, and I'm being sincere. That's some good advice, right? But guess what's gonna happen if we get healthy and we start eating the right way and we stop going to the hospitals and we start using these remedies that you're talking about that's actually good remedies? Guess what they're gonna do? They're going to go to war with us because now we're getting above them. So we're below them. They have to keep us below them in order for them to stay on top, right? You gotta have somebody below, you gotta have somebody on top. And this is what we tell the wacky tacky Christians when they say anybody in every race could be saved. We say this don't make no sense. You're gonna have a hierarchy. The Israelites have to be on top in order for the Israelites to be on top, like the Bible says is gonna happen, because that's the promise that was given to them. Then somebody's gonna be on the bottom. You can't have a top without a bottom. You see what I'm saying? So Aki, we want to get healthy. Guess what? And pull out the hospitals. Guess what Esau's gonna do? He's gonna go to war. Whether that's physical war. If it's not physical war, then he's gonna go biological war. Because if we all get healthy and we get more healthy to them, they start dying out, and we're multiplying in a healthy way, strong man, then they're gonna come with some type of false flag attack where they're gonna spread some type of disease onto us to get us back under them and get us back unhealthy. 19 keys. You want to give all this knowledge out? That's great. You can give all that knowledge out, right? And let's just say we all get to the level that you at in knowledge. Guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go to war to get us back dumb. That's what the whole miseducation, which they call the education system, is about, man. These are systems set up to keep us in these states. Now you trying to fight against that tide by giving information, but remember what I said at the beginning of this. What's the bottom line? You could do all this, but these are things, and this is why we say in the kingdom of heaven, These are things that we're gonna have in the kingdom when we have that army, when we have that war and we defeat our enemy, and then we have that army to protect us. Then we could implement all this knowledge and wisdom. But you just can't do it right now. So that's why what are we doing? We out there teaching the good gospel. The good gospel ain't tell them how to eat good to be help. No, the good gospel is, hey, look, the Lord's coming back to save those that were in captivity, the Israelites, and He gonna take us from the bottom, put us on the top, and give us a kingdom. That pretty much sums up the good gospel in Isaiah 61. And those that took us in slavery, they going in slavery because they got a punishment coming for them. That pretty much sums up the good gospel. But what is the Lord doing when He come back? Well, He's going to war. Akon, all African Americans could not leave America and go to Africa to make Africa great again. You want to know why? Because soon as we start getting our flight tickets and we start getting our passports, and this shit comes up on the CIA radar or the Pentagon radar or the white man's radar, and he start noticing that blacks are migrating from America and they're losing blacks at an alarming rate, what is he gonna do? What did he do to Libya and Gaddafi? What is he gonna do? He's gonna go to war, man. If he can't do it in a in a secret way, he can't go to war in a secret way with biological weapons, misinformation, and stuff like that. If he can't do it in that way and it still don't work, and black people say, man, we ain't trying to hear none of that bullshit that's on the news that they talking about Africa's bad, because they gonna make up shit. And black people like, and we can get over them doing the little tricky shit behind the scenes, then eventually they just gonna go straight to war. So first off, they're going to attack the leaders and the countries in Africa that's allowing us to come there. And they're going to put people in office there that's going to stop it and say, no, you guys can't come here. If that don't work some way, somehow, then they're just going to go to war. That's their last choice, is to go to war. They're going to start a war. They're going to start something called World War III so they could target people that they want to target. That's how this man works. That's how this devil works. And the Lord put him here and set him up here for a reason. You cannot get around it. You cannot have a kingdom until you destroy Esau. You cannot have a black kingdom in a black country like they think that's more advanced, and let's just say that takes over the world and become a superpower in the world without going to war with the white man. It's impossible, and that is the bottom line, because whatever you do that hurts them and benefits us, they're going to do what? They're going to go to war with you. If all black people start migrating out of the United States back to Africa, Esau's, the white man, he's going to shut that shit down. He's going to stop allowing you to use their planes, stop allowing you to use their boats, and he might start a war on something. We got this example during the 80s, 70s when they had the war against, because really when they came out and said it was a war against drugs, the war had already begun. It had been started. But what happened in the 80s, the black man was making so much money, and you seeing a unity with the black man, the Mexican man, and the Italian man, because a lot of times the black man would get their drugs and do deals with the cartel and stuff like that, right? With the Mexican man and native man, right? So they did what? A war on drugs, which really was what? A disguise for just a war on a black man, because the black man started to make so much money and get so ahead of the white man in the city, right? That they had to come with something. Then we seen this example also, something, and that's the deception that it's a war on drugs, but it really was a war on the black man. We all know that. And then we seen the same thing with like Black Wall Street, which is known to this day to be like one of the great places that black people had control of, right? Black everything. And what did they do? They started a war. It was a race war. So history shows you, it don't matter, bro. History shows you you can't do all these other things without going to war, right? So when I'm kind of dreaming at nighttime and I'm thinking of like, what would give us that freedom and that sovereignty? My dreams always end up with, now I know what's going to happen because we study the Bible and it tells us what's going to happen. But I'm just telling you what my dreams look like. You know, my dreams always go the way of war. Well, What would happen if so-called black men, if for some reason, some way, some explorers stumbled across a more advanced weapon than what the white man has? Then we would be able to take over the world. Because I know, right? Mentally, I know that it's going to take us going to war in order to get that. That's what the whole movie The Black Panther is about. Well, they're able to have better health. They're able to have a city of their own that's protected. Because what? They have a stronger weapon. And what do you use weapons for? War. They had the vibranium, which was a stronger weapon that they could use to be a world superpower, just in case they had to go to war. Without that, you have nothing. I say it again. All the rest of the stuff that they talking about, they teaching about, that's beautiful, and those things are good. But guess what? Without that, without a way to protect it, you have nothing. Without a way to protect it, you have nothing. So when Akon said about the black people going back to Africa, right? I said, okay, Akon, let's just say you create Akon City and it's successful and it looks like this on the screen. And we all start getting on planes and we all coming in to Akon City. Oh, we finna go back to Akon City. He got like 5 cities now. And we finna build it up. It's finna look like Dubai in 40 years, right? Or 20 years, it's gonna look like Dubai. We all finna go back to Akon City. The first thing that came to my mind when he said that, I asked myself a question. I said, okay, Akon, how are you gonna protect us when we do that? See, everybody want to talk about us going back to Africa. You got the guy go back to Africa, right? And you all want to talk about the African American man and woman going back to Africa because you guys know that we built America. So you know what we could do if we went to Africa. We would build that place up, right? But guess what? The question is, how are you guys going to protect us, though? So we bring our scientists over there. We bring our basketball teams, our entertainment, our rappers. We bring our art because we got a lot of men that's in the army too that make their army great. We bring them over there, right? And we bring our a little bit of money over there, and we bring our knowledge and stuff like that because we've been living in the Western world, you know. So we bring our knowledge and stuff like that, and our entrepreneurship, our spirit, we bring that over there to make Africa great. How you guys gonna protect us? Because when we do that, guess what? That's an act of war towards the white man. You going to war because the white man is like the black man, Latino man, Native American man. These, speaking from the white man's standpoint, these are my slaves. Now, if you take my slaves and take them to Africa, that's an act of war. You taking my property. That's how the white man look at it at the top levels. Wait, the black man is my property. The Latino man is my property. The Native man is my property. So if another country, Russia, China, Africa, or many countries in Africa, try to come and take my property, I'm going to go to war because this property is what makes me great. So you got to understand it from the white man's standpoint, man. And then I could never allow the blacks and Latinos and Native Americans to be successful in this community, in this nation, because if they do, then they're going to replace me and take my spot, and then I'm going to be at the bottom. So the white man's always going to do things to keep you below him, and he's going to always do things to keep you under him. So he's not going to just let you go and go be under Africa, somebody else, Hamites. He's always going to try to keep you under him because you is what make him great. So you got to understand that, man. You got to understand that, man. That's like with business, right? You get some businesses, you got to sign off, right, that you ain't never worked for their competitors before. And they do, and let's just say I got a guy and he makes it to vice president of my multi-billion-dollar business, you know, and he wants to leave. You know, this is how it works in business. You know, they do shit where they make sure that you ain't gonna go work for their competitors. This is my vice president. This man made this company great. I can't fucking let him leave. That's why a lot of these guys in these higher positions, they be ending up dead, man, after they do some dramatic shit, man. Because I can't let him leave. And I can't afford to let him go be with my competitors and make them greater than me. So a lot of times you will see like they get assassinated. You know, they get killed if they get out of order. A lot of times when you talking about billions of dollars on the table, this shit is one way in, one way out. That's how they run it. The only way you getting out is in a box. That's behind the scenes because you're too valuable. So it's the same thing with America, the black man. You're too valuable. The only way Esau gonna let you go or lose you because you're so valuable to the white man is you going out in a box, which means war. So, yeah, all that shit cool, right? Yeah, we need to learn how to be more healthier. But guess what? If we all start following what Aki's saying, at some type of point, we gonna start advancing over them. And guess what that's gonna lead to? The bottom line, which is what? War. If we all start going back to Africa, that's good. Fuck the white man. We finna leave. He ain't gonna have shit. His economy gonna collapse. And guess what's gonna happen? He's gonna go. He's gonna take you to war. So the bottom line is it's gonna be war. And the way to be successful in that bottom, because remember we talking about business. What's gonna make you successful versus unsuccessful? That's the bottom line. You gotta follow out. You gotta find out what that bottom line is. So we know what the bottom line is. This war. But what's gonna make us successful in war, or versus unsuccessful in war against the white man when it happens? Well, what did I say earlier? Spirituality, which goes back to the spirit, which goes back to your Lord. That's what's going to make us successful, the white man. It's when our Lord comes back with what the world calls UFOs, and he comes back with those chariots. Then, just like in the movie Black Panther, right, which they had UFOs in that movie, what the world called UFOs, right? Then we're gonna be more powerful than the white man, and therefore he's going to be destroyed when he does try to go to war with us. That's what the Bible talks about. And then that's going to get us salvation. And that's going to get us the freedom to be in our land and live righteous, right? With the dietary law, with all the laws, right? Which is going to lead us to what Aki is talking about, what 19 Keys is talking about, which is going to lead us to being more smart and more intelligent and having more wisdom. But guess what? Who's going to be credited for getting us that? It's going to be the Lord. Because the Lord is the only thing that exists, right? Because he's a living God that exists that has more power than the so-called white man right now on earth. The white man, Esau was blessed with the sword. He has nuclear missiles. He has lots of missiles. He has all the guns, the weapons, the military, the bases. We could never, at 2023, he has advanced weapons that we ain't never even seen, man. That we don't even know exists. Right? In 2023, we cannot build something that's going to be more powerful than the weapons and military that he has. They got thousands of fighter jets worth $10, $20 million each one, $40 million each one that could go supersonic, hypersonic, whatever. They got hypersonic missiles now. We are so far behind that we can never catch up with that type of power and those type of weapons just today. So we literally need what the world would call an advanced civilization that's more advanced than who? More advanced than the white man. That will have to come back and destroy them. But that's what the Bible speaks of too. It just don't use that terminology. Our Lord, the angels, are going to come back and go to war with man on earth. And who's the man on earth that have the weapons to even try to go to war with the Lord? Well, we just told you, the white man. And he gonna go to war with him. He gonna destroy him, which that gonna lead to what? The black man's freedom. So, yeah, you guys wanna speak all this knowledge about the BAM about that, but I started to disagree when you guys start talking about. I ain't telling you to start no race wars, or I'm telling you we have to have a race war. No, I'm not telling you to go start a race war myself, but I'm telling you we gonna have it. It's gonna happen. Whether you want to or not, it's going 100% happen, right? And I ain't telling you to hate the other races. Well, you gotta hate your enemy. And the Lord said he hate Esau. So guess what? Yes, we hate Esau too, and yes, we do hate our enemies because our enemies hate us. So that got to be a part of your teaching. You know, a lot of time, there's been a lot of men that raised up and had knowledge and taught our men knowledge, but without teaching our people who our enemies are, then you ain't getting nowhere. You got to teach our people who our God is, and who our enemies is. With that, I'm gonna say salvation to the election.